So we still have about 4 hours until NFL teams have to finalize their 53-man roster. But up to this point, the Packers have already released about 19 different players. They still have some more to release before 3 o'clock Central. But I'll be out with another video at 3 breaking down who has made this final roster. But I want to go through right now and share every single player who has been released. One guy put on IR. So I'm throwing it up here right now. And I got the players' names and who was reported by from Cheesehead TV. They have a nice list they're keeping track of. And then the colors I added myself. The green means they're undrafted free agents. The yellow means they are Packers draft picks. And then the lone guy, Pat O'Donnell, means that he was a draft pick not made by the Packers, just to show you there what those colors are. But I'm going to go through each guy. We'll slowly go through it. I'll give a few different thoughts. But safety Benny Sapp is gone. Didn't really see him making this Packers roster. Tight end Austin Allen, who if the Packers kept 4 tight ends, maybe would have been that guy. With Tyler Davis tearing his ACL, that sort of messed up the Packers' plans. He definitely would have been one of the 4. But now it looks like Luke Musgrave, Tucker Kraft, and Josiah DeGuara. And it wouldn't be shocking to see the Packers potentially go and make a move, maybe sign a tight end that another team decides to release today that they think they could potentially bring into this room. Also released tight end Dre Miller, wide receiver Deuce Watts, wide receiver Cody Crest, offensive lineman Cole Schneider, offensive lineman Gene DeLance, offensive lineman Kadeem Telfort. And then the Packers have put Lou Nichols on the IR, which I want to share a quote here from Bill Huber of Sports Illustrated about exactly what's going on there. He, of course, was the Packers' 7th-round draft pick. He said the Packers will place Nichols on injured reserve, according to a source, with the expectation that he'll be given an injury settlement. A 7th-round pick who led the nation in rushing and scrimmage yards at Central Michigan in 2021, Nichols missed most of camp in the preseason with a shoulder injury. Once healthy, Nichols will be free to sign with any team. 3 weeks after the injury settlement expires, Nichols will be eligible to return to Green Bay, so the door remains open if only a crack. So he was one guy I had on the Packers' final 53-man roster. I just figured draft pick. I wasn't sure about his injury status. I just sort of just threw him on there because the Packers do enjoy keeping their draft picks. But it looks like I was wrong here. His injury must not be great. So he does not make this final roster. We'll see what happens after he gets that injury settlement, which Bill Huber says should happen eventually. And then moving on, running back Nate McCrary, also gone. Defensive lineman Jason Luan. Linebacker Jimmy Phillips, Marvin Pierre, and Phillips from SMU made lots of nice plays this preseason, but the Packers have a lot of other middle linebackers who will be ahead of him. And then cornerback Shamar John Charles, who was a 5th-round pick by the Packers back in 2021. He only had 41 total defensive snaps in his 2 years here. He never did enough to really get himself snaps. I think when the Packers drafted him, they sort of saw him as a potential slot corner, and he just never really panned out, and the Packers decided to release him today. Then we have cornerback Ennis Gaines, who I thought would make this roster. I thought he would potentially be one of the final cornerbacks. It looks like I was wrong there. I sort of liked his versatility because he can also play safety and special teams, but the Packers look to be moving on there. Then we have cornerback Tyrell Ford, cornerback Keandre Thomas, long snapper Matt Orzech, and long snapper Broughton Hatcher, who are the only long snappers the Packers have. But here is what the Packers plan to do per Bill Huber of Sports Illustrated with Orzech. He said this: the Packers will release long snapper Matt Orzech, a source said. Though that's only a procedural move, he will be re-signed on Wednesday, so he's going to be the Packers' long snapper. He said this: Packers placed on injured reserve on Tuesday are out for the season. Packers placed on injured reserve on Wednesday or thereafter are out for a minimum of 4 games. So the plan is for the Packers to keep an injured player on the roster on Tuesday so he can go on injured reserve on Wednesday. The source would not identify that player. So technically I was wrong there with Matt Orzech, but he will be the long snapper probably by tomorrow per Bill Huber. And then finally, we already touched on Pat O'Donnell yesterday. The Packers are going with Daniel Whalen, who played nicely. Clearly the Packers believe in him, deciding to move on from a veteran in Pat O'Donnell. And it's a youth movement here in Green Bay. And so that's pretty much the releases so far. As I said, I'll be out whenever the Packers have their final schedule released. Or not schedule, we've done that already. Whenever they have their final roster released, I will make a video and go through the entire roster, and we'll see who makes the cut. But that is all I have for this one. Thank you for watching. If you want to stay up to date with all Packers news I cover on this channel, so feel free to subscribe, drop a like on the video if you enjoyed it. That's it for this one, and I'll see you guys next time.